I'm excited you're here, man.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I'm excited we get to have like a talk show on rocks with goats, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no one would make this into a TV show, but it's YouTube. We can do whatever the hell we want.
It. All right, I'm gonna pee over here real quick.
You know, it's funny. I know you had to go over and take a piss. It reminded me of my dad. Every morning we used to live in North Dakota. And every day he would come outside and spell his name wrong in the snow. And I always thought it was the coolest thing. And I was like this little kid, you know, and I didn't really get it. So it's like, I wanted to spell my name in the snow. So I remember one day I went out to like our back patio and I pulled my pants down to my ankles. I threw my legs over the patio and I wanted to spell Ronda, and I just peed all over myself. And I ran into the house crying and my legs were stinging. And I didn't understand why I couldn't do it.
All you need is a Go Girl. Have you heard of that?
Is that like a little funnel? That, like,
yeah. It's the greatest. My girl uses it all the time. I think you could write your name easily with a Go Girl.
Yeah, I heard that there's like this little funnel that like the Army Ranger chicks use. They just fucking. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't really want one. I just want to I want Trav to pee and for me to spell.
Okay.
Like, for some reason, I keep trying to convince him, like, can I please just, like, hold it while you pee? I've been able to let him get me to do it in the toilet, but, like, my dream is to pee Ronda in the snow with his dick.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I gotta aspire to something, you know?
Yeah. I used to be all about writing my name. Like, I'd write sentences down the sidewalk. I called it sidewalk calligraphy because you got to do cursive.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There's no use for cursive anymore.
No, and they keep telling you that, like, oh, you have to, they're only going to accept cursive in the 4th grade, so you have to learn it, and then it's just a lie. It's like a dying art form.
Yeah,
kind
cursive's
of like spelling.
Dumb. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing YouTube?
YouTube, we actually started like 14 months ago, a little bit.
Okay.
Like when I first started doing MMA, I like did everything I could like for social media back before it was cool. So I used to have like a vlog that I would do and edit myself regularly, but then shit just got so crazy. Get it?
Hey, Scott.
We'll send it to you.
Hey, Scott.
If anyone's gonna let you do it, it's Pax.
All right. Hey, buddy. Oh, man, I'm going to go for it right here. Okay. Come here, buddy. Good boy.
Good boy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
You give him a little punch to the head.
Oh, you're starting to break skin. We could.
Yeah, that's bad, huh?
Yeah, we're not gonna hit that spot anymore. Oh yeah, we're getting some goodness. We're getting some good chunkiness. We stay off that spot though.
Yeah, we don't want to break skin.
No, want all the juices to stay in there.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, we've kind of like both devoted our lives to beating the crap out of our bodies. Is there like anything like what has been what is
like
stuck?
do I have permanent damage?
What's the permanent damage?
Mostly just like terrible tattoos and awful fake teeth. Yeah, like I have just like, I mean, 'cause now I'm 45 years old, so I think it's just natural that my body starts not feeling good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with me that wouldn't be the case if I was an accountant. So, how often do you perform in WWE? It's not like...
Well, I did like completely full time for a year. So, I mean, not completely full time. I did like all of the TV and as many live shows as I could. So I probably worked like 200 days out of the year last year. But most people do like way more. Most people have live shows throughout the week and then they go and do TV and then they get to be home for a day and a half and they go and do it again.
And they make you travel yourself, like all the...
The non-stop. And so it was like... it was just so much time away from my family that I couldn't do it like sustainably. And me and Trav want to have babies and stuff.
Yeah.
And like if I'm gone 200 days a year and taking sit-out power bombs every night, I don't really think that's very conducive to conception. So,
Right.
you know, we just wanted to take some time and like make us a priority, because it's like,
Sure.
what do we work for? You know, what do we try to make money for? So
Right.
we can like live our lives how we want with who we want.
Right.
And so I like everybody in my family sacrificed for a whole year for me to be gone, and now it's like time for the payoff for us to all be together. So I don't know when I'm gonna go back. I know I definitely do want to, but I don't think I'll be able to do it in that capacity again. I don't think I can put my family through that again.
Well, I didn't realize that you were taking a break from it.
Yeah, I haven't wrestled since WrestleMania.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. My presence is still felt.
Oh, super. So do you still love MMA?
Yeah, I love the art, you know? Like, I love judo, I love MMA, I love martial arts. It's like, because it's different than sports, because it has philosophy with it, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like, the principles of judo are maximum efficiency, minimum effort, mutual welfare and benefit, and, you know, but something like wrestling, you just win, you know? Like, there's not,
Right.
like, a philosophy behind it. And so, like, I love martial arts in that it's philosophy expressed physically. And there's something, like, magical about that isn't any other sport out there.
What do you think of Zhang Weili?
I think that she's fantastic and amazing. I love watching how the girls are succeeding and growing and evolving. Joanna's an awesome girl. Like, I really am looking forward to that fight, and I can't wait to see Rose too in that mix as well. You know, like I'm really a huge fan of all those girls, and they like represent the sport well, and they just kick so much ass. Like they're fucking fighters. You know, they're not like points fighting bitches. Like they're out there to like kill somebody, and like that's what I love about MMA. You know, it's that. It's supposed to be like, who is the baddest motherfucker, not who can win this match.
Right.
And they really go out there to prove who is the baddest motherfucker, and I have just so much respect for those girls, man. They kick so much ass, you wouldn't know that they're like just itty bitty and cute.
I mean, it's just like, just to be sitting here and it's like you single-handedly just made female MMA happen.
I mean, I wasn't single-handed.
I think so.
Gina Carano is like fucking God to me. Like,
Okay.
oh my God, I love her. She's the reason that I did it. But the thing is, it's like we're all just kind of torchbearers in the relay, you know. And I watch those girls, like I feel like a proud mom almost.
Right.
Of like, oh, just kick each other's asses. You're so great, you know. But
And like, say for example, with basketball, like the WNBA, like you can tell that you're watching, like, you know, like the difference between men and women is stark. But with MMA, like, I don't understand how with women's MMA, there's no difference in the intensity. Like
there's no difference in intensity. It's a little different, like, styles, which I really like, actually, because, like, the men carry their weight in their shoulders and the women carry their weight in their hips. But, yeah, they're just as intense, but the style is different. So it gives you variety, but it doesn't lower, like, the intensity at all. Like, they don't go out there and, like, do this shit, you know? And so from, like, somebody who grew up being, like, every time I was on the mat, somebody would say that's a weird-looking kitchen, you know? It's, like, really cool to see those girls, like, really respected, and like no one questions their right to be there anymore. It's become normal, you know, and that's just what I always wanted, for it to be normal. It's normal.
I love it. I'm such a huge fan of UFC. Like I really like watch every fight.
When did you first become aware of it?
Well, I remember being aware of it when I worked at a video, like, my job was to reshelve video cassettes at a rental store in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1996.
Oh, wow.
And there was like a little UFC section.
So you were like clerks.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like, I think watching you is really when I just became die-hard, you know?
Really?
For sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I remember, I've been on tour with Scott for over 6 years now. And like it was only when Ronda was fighting when it was like, after we get done, we're like I don't want to know the results again. And I'm still that way. Like I'll move my Instagram app off the front page of my phone so that I don't inadvertently open it up and find out like what happened.
Yeah.
And then I'll go like after my shows to the hotel room and just lock it all down and watch like entire cards.
That's so cool. It got to a point for me where it's like I knew too many people, you know, so I couldn't have like that separation. Like even like some of the girls that I really like love, I hate to see them, like any of them be sad, you know, because like when I didn't know anybody, I'd be like, yeah, get him, ah.
Yeah.
But then it started to be like every card, like, oh no, Nate, please be okay, like, you know,
Right.
it started to like pull at your heartstrings like every match, and so like now I think I kind of gravitate more towards WWE because it's like it's not like
Right.
it doesn't have that like the wins and the losses don't really matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like it's the performance that matters. And like in UFC, it's like somebody's walking out there devastated, you know?
Right.
And like if you're like a real fighter, like it's like dying on the inside if you really care that much. And it's like it's almost hard to be like, I just want everyone to be happy. And like, you know, could everybody just win and be happy? And it's just the stakes are so high and it's like so intense that it's like it's hard to watch your friends go through that. And I wish I could have that objective view of it again and see it like I did when I was first watching like the Diaz brothers on Showtime, you know?
Right.
But yeah, it's like the closer and closer and closer I got, the more and more and more personal it got, and the more like the wins and the losses started to affect me to see people go through that, because it's like a pivotal moment in everybody's life, you know, that you're seeing back to back to back to back to back, and it's like it's so intense for everybody. It's like I start to like get emotional and I can't help it. I can't keep the emotion out of it anymore.
It's such an interesting perspective because it's true. And so few people come away with it, or so few people come away from it with like anything to show for it too. It's like you do it just for the passion.
That, but it's also like it gave so many people a career that never would have. Like I've seen so many Olympians that just end up depressed and, you know, like, and working minimum wage for the rest of their lives because their whole life's focus was the Olympics, and once the Olympics is over, the whole world doesn't give a shit, and you have no work experience and no education, and you're screwed, you know. So MMA was like this amazing thing of like I can actually take these skills that I have and use it for like a career. Like I didn't waste my whole life, and so everybody that was, you know, every woman wrestler, every woman judoka, every woman that did like Muay Thai or boxing or anything suddenly had this whole world open to them where they could actually have a career in what they love. And it used to be like, you know, my family probably lost a large amount of money to send me to 2 Olympics, you know? Like I won an Olympic bronze medal and I got $10,000 that they taxed me on, so it was probably like $6,000 that paid for half of a used Honda Accord. And that was what I got for, you know, sacrificing basically my whole life to represent my country. And so before the UFC, all these people from combat sports, like even an Olympic, you know, Olympic gold medalist wrestler would end up being like, okay, I guess I can be a coach for a high school and work for $30,000 a year, and that is all that my life's work in Olympic championships have gotten. And so it really like it created this like extra all these opportunities and careers for people that never would have existed. So it's like, yeah, after the UFC, a lot of people have nothing to go to after that, but it's almost like they would have had nothing even sooner if the UFC wasn't there. And I think one of the harder things, and I don't know if you experience this in your business, but is seeing people that don't really have that fire to fight anymore, but they don't know what else to do, and they don't have an identity outside of it, so they end up just fighting until they look like an eroded riverstone, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you see these guys that are just like, oh, please, dear God, hang it up.
Right.
But like a lot of people don't know who they are outside of it because it's just so consuming that like it becomes your identity. And that, I think that's something that I really had to deal with stepping away from the UFC, was finding my identity without it because I got so lost in it. And I think it's like, I don't know, man, it's tough because you're with these people and you're like, oh my God, I got to live this journey with you, this is amazing. And then, you know, you see somebody who's like Bellator fights and you're like, oh my God, this person's still going, this person's still going.
Right.
And I can't watch it. And like it makes me sad, you know? And
it's so heavy.
Yeah.
That's so, talking to you is so interesting and so heavy.
Yeah, there's not a day that goes by that people aren't telling me to fight. And I have to kind of like, I have to try to think of it as, would I rather be the greatest of all time or have everybody think I'm the greatest of all time? And it used to be so important to me to have both, but now it's got to the point where like I don't want to sacrifice myself and my family to prove that anymore to a bunch of people who don't give a shit about me. You know, I know, and the people who love me know, and it's no longer a priority in my life. And all of the people that tell you like, oh, come on, fight again, do this again, do this, they would never do that for me. So
right.
Like it's another thing about like putting up safe boundaries of being like, you know, I don't want to be giving myself to people who wouldn't do the same for me.
Right.
But man, it's hard when everyone around you, the value they have for you is how you fight, and how they see you is how they fight. The only thing that they think you have to offer is how you fight. And it was actually my husband that taught me that I'm so much more than just a fighter, and I don't have to fight myself into the ground to prove that I'm the greatest of all time when I already know that I am. So I think that like letting go of that need to like make sure nobody else doubts it was like just kind of part of growing up.
Sure. I can relate to that so much, just insofar as needing to have separation from my persona and who I am. Mm-hmm. Because if my identity is tied up in like what kind of a commodity I am in the entertainment industry, then I'm just barreling towards misery.
And it's so dependent on your body as well, you know, and how long of our body's going to last us.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I feel like it's like at the bar, last call for stunts.
Well, I think it's a great idea, your bucket list tour. It's really, really cool. But you know what? I always say too, there's no use putting a perfect body in the ground, you know? Like, I respect the people that can run a triathlon when they're 70, but in my mind, if I'm running a triathlon at 70, I didn't do enough shit when I was 20.
How about that?
Yeah. I
love it. Yeah. Who said it? Our body is not a temple, it's an amusement park. Enjoy the ride.
I love that. I love it. It's the greatest tool you'll ever own, you know? And you know what? Like I 20s the fuck out of my 20s. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s are like. Like I want to know who I am without being young and gorgeous, which but you know what, like I don't want that to be part of my whole identity, just like I don't want being a fighter or a WWE wrestler or all those other things to be your whole identity. They're the parts of who we are, but they're all fleeting. It's even like our memories. I used to be really scared about CTE and all that stuff, and WWE they gave me every test known to God before I signed up, because they want to pretty much appraise the house before they bought it. And apparently I have a pristine brain. My brain is
I just got a brain scan.
Yeah, how was your brain?
They said it was shocking that they didn't see more problems.
Yeah.
And what they did see, they said, was related to long-term alcohol and drug abuse. Not even head trauma.
But even going through that time of being because there was a time anytime I forgot anything or forgot what I was talking about mid-sentence, I'm like, oh my God, CT, I'm gonna die. And it even though I know that's probably not the path that I'm gonna go now, I'm really glad what it taught me of you know what, even our memories are just as fleeting as our possessions, and it's really about living in the present moment. And it used to be so important to me of man, I just want to be undefeated and retire and, look back on it and be proud of it. And then, you know what, looking back at that is something that is just as fleeting as everything else, and I got to realize later that, you know what, that was really selfish of me to make a goal, because what I learned in the WWE is you have to put over, if you're going to drop the title, you got to put the next person over on the way out, because you have to keep that momentum going and make that title mean something. And if I just retired undefeated and left all those girls there, they would have had no credibility, because I didn't give them any, And so like the way everything ended up was the way it was the best it could have been for the division, because they got to take my credibility and run with it instead of letting me run away with it. And that might have been what I wanted selfishly, but what I wanted most is for the division of the sport to succeed. And so what happened was what needed to happen. But it took me taking my identity away from just being a fighter to realize that.
I love it.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. About the CTE, Tony Hawk told me that there was a test for a gene which makes you predisposed to Alzheimer's, which is a big determiner. Like apparently if you have the gene which makes you predisposed for Alzheimer's, apparently if you have it, then your brain won't heal a certain way, so there's something to that. Like, if you're, so I remember thinking too, well, what were you gonna do if you had it? You know, if you have the gene, like, what are you gonna do? And he said, I don't know.
Write shit down. Take videos, put it on YouTube so you can watch it later.
Right. I mean, I didn't even want to get the test because, like, great. So what's gonna benefit me to know?
Right.
That
But like, I'm glad I got the test, because it's good to like have that stress off your mind. Like, I need to get that genetic test as well. But like, what do you think you're gonna do, like, when your body is not a commodity that you can spend anymore? You know, like,
right.
Like, what do you think is next for you?
I don't know, but I just learned how to give tattoos. I got pretty good at it. Yeah, so I could do that.
Maybe I'll let you give me one someday.
I got into stand-up comedy, and so I can kind of do that for a longer time.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
What do you like about stand-up?
I just like being the center of attention. Like, there's something pretty rewarding about putting something together that people appreciate, that they react to, and especially when I'm not getting hurt.
Is there something you learned about stand-up, like, since getting into it that you didn't know before? Like the structure of like a set, or like, is there a rhyme or reason to it? Is it certain things that people teach you, or you just go out there and wing it?
There's a level of winging it when you're putting it together, yeah. And certain things lend themselves to comedy that others don't. And you just, the only way to figure out what it is to try it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like if we had a match like for WWE, we have like, I would usually do live shows if I had like a big match coming up on like at TV. So you would have like a couple days in a row where you would be in front of a crowd and be able to like kind of practice the match when it's not on television, and then you would be able to see, okay, this worked, they didn't really come for this, or like whatever. So then like by the time you come to do TV on Monday, you've done that match like 3 different times for 3 different crowds, and you've really refined it, and you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna love this part, and like you kind of like know it way more. And I kind of like, I don't know, I'd imagine, because that's the only kind of system I really learned, that's kind of what it's like, like
exactly
refining a set, a comedy set.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like. It's trial and error, and then it's like evolution and like polishing it, and then ultimately you end up just in a repetition cycle where you go crazy because it's like, you know, you're just doing the same thing over and over.
And I saw, do you have like a podcast, or I saw something about you talking to Dana with headphones on?
Right. I got this van to outfit it as a podcast studio, and I haven't used it that much for that, but we're gearing up to get more into it. But yeah, I went racing to go film with Dana when I saw Justin Bieber challenge Tom Cruise to a fight, because Tom Cruise wasn't responding, and so I was like, dude, like, Tom Cruise is afraid of Justin Bieber, but I'm not, and I'm gonna go tell Dana White.
It'd be so interesting for Justin Bieber to be like, who do people dislike more than me? This will put me over. Tom Cruise. I want to fight Tom Cruise. Well played, Biebs. Well, I'm sure you could kick his ass.
I don't know that I could, but
he's fucking tiny. I've seen him in person. He's about up to your knee.
I'm just not a fighter. I really don't think that.
Well, he ain't either. Don't worry about it.
But
the money's on you.
I felt that that was something that would never happen anyway, so I just thought it was kind of funny to run it by Dana White. And if it were to ever happen, I wouldn't even care if I won or lost because I would just be taking the money to open up our animal sanctuary.
Aw, that's
So that's
sweet.
like, you know, whatever it takes. I just saw that as my motivation. But yeah.
Well, if you want to get ready for your fight, me and Mr. Hoppa can help you out.
All right. How's my ear looking?
It's getting good, but I gotta hold on. I'm gonna roll it backwards too, okay?
Ooh.
It's getting there.
It's getting tender.
It's getting chunky. All right.
Oof.
Well, you're gonna have to keep up on it
All right,
after
I will.
you leave today, okay?
Yeah.
So you gotta wake up in the morning and rough it up.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Woo, that one was the most painful, the one.
All right, goats. Let's go.